trying to get off the trail now. There's always like nothing on the trail really, so I'm trying to go into the neighborhood, see if I find anything. I don't know, man. These days it's just I don't know what I'm looking for, and I don't know what I'm going to come across, but I try to just go down roads and stuff I've never really walked down, or never really biked down, or I haven't biked down in a long time, so I'm trying to find something new rather than walk the same trails, and there's always people on it and stuff, and taking some different roads here. Green, 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 green. Why is everything so green? Yellow fire hydrant. That's not green, but almost everything else is. Alright, it got too hot, so I'm back on this walking trails. Just trying to get somewhere else. Trying to stay cool. It's pretty hot out. It's in the 90s. It's in the early evening here. The only thing I can think of things that would have interesting color would be like houses, cars, flowers, stuff like that. So trying to stay aware to everything. You know, here's some cool flowers over here. Wouldn't make a cool painting, but interesting color. It's pretty weird. Very weird color. Other than that, I don't know what else is gonna have that's not gonna be green. It's just like everything is green. Although, maybe I document that. Maybe I just do a very green painting and show all the variations of green. I don't know. That seems kind of boring, so that'll be my last resort. I'm looking for something else before that, of course. Boy. I really like that light on that garage. If I could find something interesting that has that kind of light, like strong light with interesting shadows, then it would be worth painting. But you know, just having the light by itself, it's not really that interesting if it's not something, you know, it's just like a tan, pink, white garage. But the lighting is really nice, so that's what I'm looking for, something that has like interesting lighting, but is also interesting in itself, because if I'm only doing it for the lighting, then it's not really worth doing for the most part, I think. That's the kind of stuff I'm looking for, you know, there's interesting shadows on this path, but no real focal point, you know, in and of itself. It's just interesting light, but nothing that light is even like illuminating. So one thing I'm becoming a lot more aware of when I'm out plein air painting now is where the sun is and where it's setting and rising. If I'm painting out in the evening like this, the sun's setting over that way. So I make sure that I'm walking and looking the total opposite direction, which is going to give me the most, the most light, the most saturated colors, because the more you look toward the sun, the light gets into your eyes, makes your eyes close down more, you get less saturated, everything's more gray, especially as the sun starts setting, everything just gets way more gray in the atmosphere. So I try to go the opposite way of the sun. If the sun was rising over this way, I'm going to be looking to the west. Try to find stuff that's more lit up that way for the most part. Try to keep that in mind if you're going outside and plein air painting. I made that mistake this past weekend up in the mountains, and every painting almost was just, we're painting toward, looking into the sun. Even though it was like noon, there was still a little bit of angle to the sun, and we were looking into the sun at our subjects, and it made a big difference. The paintings didn't come out too great. So I'm definitely trying to keep that in mind as well. There's just so many different things to look for, and that's what makes it so difficult. Oh boy, it's getting so hot that I'm trying to just decide on something and get something in my sketchbook and not be so picky. But I definitely feel like I want to be able to paint in the shade somewhere, and look at a tree or something. So I think I found something. I like this little trail here, this pathway leading into the trees. And I'm in the shade. The unfortunate thing is it's painting toward the sunlight, which I was just talking about not doing. Looks like there is a pathway here as well, but it's not as good. So I may just have to sacrifice and just paint toward the sun. The cool thing is it does give a little bit more atmospheric perspective with the darker pine trees in the background. You know, I do like having the darker pine trees in the back, kind of giving some contrast to all the foreground trees. Whew, truth is, I'm running out of gas here. Didn't bring any water with me, but I'm pretty close to home, but I want to get a painting done and get back home. I think this is a pretty cool scene, so I'm going to do it. It's all green, but I think I'll try to make it a little more interesting, give it a little more color variety, so should be cool. Big thing I want to remember is why I decided to paint this in the first place, which was the trail and the contrast here, the lighting. But I also want to try to focus on a feeling rather than pure accuracy. So I want to get the feeling of light, and sometimes that may mean painting a little bit differently than what's actually there. And that's what I struggle with, but I'm going to go for it. Let's do it. think I'm getting the feeling. Just gotta stick with it here through the finish. boy. I gotta stop before I overwork this. I think I already have. I want to get more temperature in there. Keep going too dark. There we go. That brought it together. That's what I needed. Just a little bit of detail. There we go. There we go. Did it. Pretty good. Pretty good with that. I guess it's not always bad to paint into the sun, but it's something to be mindful of. I got a little bit lucky with this one. That the lighting, you know, it's still, sun's still pretty high in the sky, so I got a lot of good color and stuff. I really pushed the color temperature with the cools in the background and the warms, and I think that really made a difference for the colors there overall. So I'm cool with this one, man. Actually really happy about it, surprisingly. I thought, you know, painting something all green would be pretty boring, and here it's probably one of the best in the sketchbook, at least for this year. So yeah, pretty cool. Anyway, never know how it's gonna go till you just get out and do it, so that's how life is, I guess. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Be sure to check out my other videos on screen right now, and stay tuned for the next episode. Peace, my friends.